This is the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
The Everton our way.
Straight from the street end.
Howdy Blues, welcome to the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. Mr. Johnny 7 here as always, and another Monday and another Everton victory to talk about. It's getting a little bit insane, really. So today's episode, I'm going to have a recap of the Palace game at the weekend. The Everton test event in the news is what I am going to talk about. Just got home from that not long ago. Wow. And other Everton news of the week, which isn't a whole lot. Maybe just look at the league table. I'll probably waffle on about the test events quite a bit, though. And then just look ahead at Friday's show, which will be the Man United preview. So starting off, the Palace game. I've got varying stats from all over the show here, but the main info that we're looking for the after the fallout of the Merseyside derby, obviously we knew there would have to be a couple of changes within Dai being forced out of the side due to injury, and it's looking like he's got ligament damage. I think it looks like a strain rather than, I don't know what the more serious stuff is, but yeah, it looks like weeks rather than months and months and months. So hopefully we'll be back before the end of the season. But obviously he had to be replaced, and obviously Decore as well for doing this. Got a booking. Should he have been booked for that on reflection? Yeah, anyway, Moyes wasn't best pleased about it when he was talking about it in the pre-match presser. I don't know, I'm looking back at it now, and, you know, we got through the Palace game unscathed, really. So I'm a little bit more forgiving than I was the other day. And I think, well done to him. Horrible, horrible, horrible rats deserve it. Yeah. So the couple of changes that needed to be made. Pickford stayed in goal. O'Brien right back. Tarkowski and Branthwaite centre backs. Mikalenko left back. Lindstrom on the right. Harrison on the left. Charlie Alcaraz came in for his first start, and Garner Gay and James Garner in the middle with Beto up top. And yeah, pretty. I don't know. I think we started quite well, like from the off, but then we were on the back foot. Really under the cosh for the first 20 minutes, and we had Pickford to thank for us staying on level terms, because two of the saves were particularly good. One was more routine, but he had to save them, and he did. And they were all over us at the start. They were pretty good. The passing was crisp, and they were just whizzing past players willy nilly. And I thought I couldn't see where we were getting a goal from. I don't think the defence was particularly hot at all. There were a couple of really poor moments. Tarkowski with the ball bouncing off his heel and going into one of their lads, sending one of their lads through. But Branthwaite could have hacked that clear as well, but didn't. And yeah, we were lucky to get away with one, really. But I mean, they did have the ball in the net as well. Lerma with the header into the top corner. Linesman's flag was an odd one because it went up, but it went up as the ball was going in, as he moved away from the byline. Well, first angle you saw, you thought, right, okay, he's made the right decision there, and you can kind of see his flag going up. I think it's kind of automatic for all of Evertonians these days, where we automatically look for a flag, whether it's us or them, or the opposition. But it was an odd one because they showed it, and then they showed it on VAR. I wasn't at the game. We were at an 18th party in the night, so I was watching in the pub beforehand. And he showed that angle first, what it looked like it went out, and then he showed it every other angle where it was like more inconclusive. But because the linesman gave it as going out to play on the pitch, I think they said because it was inconclusive, that decision had to stand. And lucky for us, it did, and they didn't get the goal in the end. And Everton did get a goal, and I saw somebody joking about Charlie Adam spending some time on the pitch doing set pieces with Mitchell from their fullback who took a throw in. God knows what he was thinking, but he threw it back, completely missed his player out, and put Alcaraz through on the right. He took a couple of touches, drives with it really well actually, and just picked out a great pass through to Beto. Took one little touch, waited for the goalie to come out and the defender to come across, and then just dinked it in between the two of them. And the Blues go 1-0 up, and Beto has got his celebration, the silencer, which is an old LeBron James celebration from a number of years ago, when he used to make the clutch shot. Um, yeah, I used to watch basketball quite a lot actually, so I'm not just talking waffle there. Yeah, and Beto is in bang in form, and Alcaraz with his first contribution, first talent contribution as a Blue, and yeah, Everton 1-0 up, and we managed to go in 1-0 at half time, and I couldn't believe it really because after those first 20 minutes, to be fair, it was a little bit more end to end, but they had the better efforts and chances, and as I say, Pickford made three top saves at least, and they had one chalked off. So 1-0 up, we go in at half time. Unfortunately, though, that was only short lived after half time because Mateta gets them back on level terms, and this seemed to take an age, and it was a tricky one again because it was bobbling around, and then it was a nice little knock through from. Oh, I should mention actually before I move on from that, the just I think it was something like 61 seconds before the Everton goal, they absolutely rattled one against the bar where they really should have done better. I think Mateta had a little bobbled through all over. The defender just waltzed through, bundled his way through, and then it bobbled into the middle with Mateta, who knocked a little cute one round the corner, about 6-7 yards out. And then I think it was Sarr absolutely rattled it. Pickford completely beaten, and then it bounces, rattles across bar, and then bounces to safety. Um, and then a little passage of play, and then the Blues take advantage of that sloppy play from them. Right, okay. So moving on from that, we really, really wrote our luck. But then, as I was saying, Mateta gets a goal after a through ball from Gay. I think it was just kind of knocked forwards. I thought when I first saw it, he hooked it, but his foot was a little bit high. But the defender went in a little bit lower, but he was nowhere near him anyway. So, but it took an age to be given. It was a nice finish from him actually, but he looked like he was offside on one angle, but every other angle he looked like he was on. So I don't know how it takes that long to figure that out, though. They drew the line. One angle he kept showing where he looked offside, and I think they drew the line on that one. I don't know where they make these decisions though. And I've seen the red shirt all weekend, all since our game on Wednesday, and they're going on about them not drawing the lines, not drawing the lines, and I don't agree from their part, but for our part, there, yeah, I don't know when the decision gets made to draw the lines or not, because it looked like two different angles were given two different levels there. So, but can't argue. They got it back to 1-1, well taken goal from them. But they were still threatening. And Eze was really good, really good. A lot of them running with the ball really, really strong. Um, and we didn't have a whole lot of answers for them. You know, we had a few attempts again, a lot more than we had under Dyche, um, and we ended up making a couple of changes with Ashley Young coming on, and I can't remember who else, but Ashley Young was the main one. The ball comes over to him, and he hooks it in on the byline, and it looks like it's I think it's Chilwell's arm on the way in. It deflects out, and um, we might have a shot again. It hits Will Hughes, and we claim it for handball again. That hits him on the chest, but it drops right to Charlie Alcaraz, who puts it with a very neat finish into the bottom corner. And on his first start for the club, he's got a goal and an assist. His performance overall, yes, he did look very bright with the ball, but he isn't up to speed yet, and you can see that. But not being up to speed and getting a goal and an assist on his full debut, you can't ask for more, can you? So yeah, Beto again, Alcaraz, and they worked well together. Then he offered a lot more up top, and his passing is a lot better than the other option who's been closer to Beto lately, which is Decore. I don't think he gives the same kind of defensive work as Decore, but that calmness and ability to run with the ball. Oh, it was Tim who came on as well. Um, yeah, Timmy and Ashley Young came on, and the ref let quite a lot go. It was quite a scrappy game, really. I think Moyes said that in his post match press. Well, in an interview afterwards with Sky, because we were on a Saturday night football, weren't we? Um, but that one and the Brighton win, they are massive wins. You couldn't see us getting a win from anywhere. Never mind two away wins. And is that two back to back away wins for us? Yeah, it is, isn't it? So I mean, when could you ever see that happen in the past year or so? We probably have done. We probably did it when we had that mad run in March last year, but we couldn't see it happen this season at all. The stats. So let's see. Oh yeah, we held on anyway. There was a little bit of pressure again. They had some decent efforts, um, but we managed to hold on, and we didn't look overly under threat. Uh, but Palace were really good. They're a really good side. I think defensively, they're normally better, but they're not as strong at home, and we managed to take advantage of that. Goals: Palace 1, Everton 2. Apparently, Palace had 17 shots, Everton had 11. 6 shots on target each. I mean, even that as a stat, if you look even 6 weeks ago, that would be unheard of. Possession 58.1 for them, 41.9 for us. Successful passes 401 to our 264. I haven't got the pass percentage success rate on here. Long passes 60 to our 67, and their corners one was 6 to our 2. So, um, as I've said before, we seem to do better when we have when the opposition has a bit more possession. We look at Beto had 56 touches in those 90 minutes played. He really put himself about all over, and he led the line a little bit better. He won a lot more duels and stuff. I mean, his game is running onto the ball, isn't it? That's when he proved it again. He got a chance in front of goal and buried it. And he's not the target man type, even though he's a big fella. He's not awful in the air, but he definitely does prefer running onto the ball, and that seems to be what we will be playing to his strengths rather than trying to have a makeshift Calvert Lewin a la Big Dunk kind of replacement, which I don't think anyone saw that coming. So uh, really, really great to see. Moisey, I'll talk about this a little bit more in the news. In his 6 games in charge, 4 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat, and that defeat was in his first game against Villa, wasn't it? So was that even really a Moisey side? Had he had enough time to get them bedded in? So key players for Everton. Beto, real handful up top, scored his goal confidently. He just one touch, waited for the goalie to come out a little bit. Defender coming across, didn't dilly dally about it, and just he lets the ball do the work a lot of the time. Steadies his body and then takes a touch if he needs to, and super calm. And then Alcaraz, obviously, goal and assist on his first start, dream debut. He's already got a song, and it was a nice little moment in after the match where I think Harrison is acting as his interpreter at the moment, and them two being besties is it's great to see. Tarkovsky and Brandwaite, I don't think they were as solid after shaky start and looked knackered. But then, as the game went on, they looked more assured and really dealt with the pressure. Their goal aside, Mateta looked good for them. Obviously, Mitchell, we need to thank for that little through ball to throw in from to Alcaraz. Post-match reaction: Moisey, scrappy game, but he found a way to win, and I'm proud of the Brazilians. Me too, Davey. Me too. Beto playing with a lot more confidence now. We just needed the chances, and he's got his chance, and he's taken it with both hands. Uh, we love him. Glasner and Palace, we made too many mistakes, and it's frustrating because we had chances. They did. They really did have chances, and as I say, we had Pickford to thank for the first 20 minutes, and bad finishing from them, and the ball going out to play. So so the Blues get a win on the road again. 13 points in the last 6 games, so 13 in the last 5 really. So a great start for Moisey, and we really can start looking up the table. Level on points with Palace after that. They're just ahead of us on goal difference. We leapfrogged Man United and Spurs, didn't we? But after I'll talk more about this when we talk about news in a minute. But then Spurs beat Man U yesterday, so they went back above us. But the league table is starting to look a lot more. Well, I don't know. It's making me a lot less stressed. And then you just look at it, look at the sides below us, and yeah, as I say, I'll talk about that a little bit more when I've talked about the Bramley event in the news, which is coming next.
News!
Okay, the Everton news of the week. The main bit of news is the historic first game at the Bramley Moor Dock, the Everton Stadium, as it's called. It's still not. It's. I think there is going to be some kind of bidding war, isn't it? I can't imagine it's going to be called the Everton Stadium still. When we start next season, and if we can get a big fat loads of money in for it, then yeah, I want to say I'm not bothered what it's called, but there are obviously a few things that we don't want it to be named. So first ever game at Bramley Moor Dock, so Everton under-18s face Wigan under-18s for the first test event in front of 10,000 fans. I think every one of them turned up. And you know what? I tried to get as many videos as I could. The game itself, obviously, we want to support the under-18s and stuff like that, but I think the game itself, it was a friendly, and I don't want to be unkind really and say it was irrelevant. It wasn't as important as the testing of the stadium itself. That game could have taken place. It wouldn't have taken place if the didn't need it for the test event. The the game itself, the tickets and all that kind of stuff. So everyone, we had all kinds of people asking, "Is it going to be streamed and all that kind of stuff?" And it was on YouTube live for those who couldn't make it to the game. I got my ticket. I can't remember when I got my email from my ticket, but I got a notification sometime today saying you've still not downloaded your ticket left yet. And then I thought, you know what, I'll just get it on the way. So it'll be sound. And then, of course, I leave my place. I live not too far from there. So Old Hall Street. So all I have to do is go to Great Howard Street and then Costco, and then I'm pretty much there at Bramley. about 20-minute walk. I thought I'll just get it, and then as soon as I left mine, I had no signal, and then I'm walking, and I, like, oh, I've had days to do it, and then yeah, so I was having a bit of a panic. But I managed to, for 5 minutes from mine, my signal returned, and managed to get my ticket sorted. Um, so that was a good sign. Got in for the start, which was also a good sign. I thought I was going to be well late, and yeah, just wow. As soon as I came out of mine, and then as I got onto Great Howard Street, just looking over the top there, over the top of Costco, and you can just see it in the distance. And honestly, goosebumps moment, shivered up my spine. It was just amazing, just immense. You got it now, just seeing it like that. Obviously, you see it all the time. You see it, you go past it, and it's lit up most of the time. Um, anyway, when you're coming past that way from like Bootle, Kirkdale area into the city centre, and you can view it from the other side to the water as well. And it still looks impressive, but actually heading there and knowing that you're going to be sat in there within, 15, 20 minutes or so, it was, yeah, it was a sight to behold. Like, so, yeah, and all the way up there, I was trying to get different views of it, and yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't know why. I was like obviously excited about being there and being one of the privileged few to be there. Um, but I was nervous about it as well. I don't know why. um, there's been a lot of controversy, hasn't there, about the parking zones and stuff like that. So, just noticed as soon as you get onto just after Costco, it's all kind of blocked off down there um, already. So I think there was a gig in Invisible Wind Factory, if it's still called that, or 10th Street Social, one of those. So there was a big coach outside there, but I think there was most of the way off was it was stewarded off, and so it was it was say it was about 20-minute walk from, and so people getting into town. There was soccer buses being put on. I think from Bootle, there would be imagine there'd be a lot of them coming from town, from Sandhills again, when it's fully up and running. Um, so I don't think getting there is going to be an issue for people. I think the parking is potentially going to be an issue. Uh, well, it already is, but I think there's petitions going out there to try and sort that out. So hopefully all those issues will be ironed out a little bit by then, by the time we get the next test event, which is a bigger capacity, and by the time the season starts. So we don't want anything to kind of overshadow and leave a sour taste in anyone's mouth about it. So we, yeah, get all those problems out the way now. But if you get into town and you get off at Moorfields or James Street, you're talking about a 20-minute walk, which that's what a lot of people coming from the Stanley Roads in Bootle or along Black Horse and Rice Lane, all those kind of areas, walking up or walking from town anyway to Goodison. So it's it's not really it's handy. Let's just say it's very handy, and yeah, and walking up, you can just see it. It's great again. You're kind of hidden by the quite large walls around there, so it's kind of hidden until you get a little bit closer, and then you just see it again. It's just like a big spaceship in the distance. It looks amazing, and then it's quite well stewarded today. It'd be interesting to see how it is on the season start, and then the friendlies before the season starts and stuff. Um, but it's just vast, going in, and um, we were we sat in the south stand in block 007. I think our tickets are in 206, 205, 206, which is in the upper south. So, and getting in there. yeah, it was just. I mean, it was reminiscent of, I think, first time in the new Wembley when you first go in, and those turnstiles are just super smooth. The concourses are really, really wide. Loads and loads of places to get a pint or a pie or whatever. Toilets, a lot more spacey, and don't stink a piss. You're not wading um, in through piss as you go in there, and yeah, a lot of space. And um, what I will say though is when today's game or tonight's game, I was row 24, 007, and so that was. It is very steep, and this is one of the things that has come out, and they wanted it to be steep, to give atmosphere. But I posted stuff on social media. I think there was a picture taken where it was kind of turned a little bit this way, so it looked like even more steep. But let's not get away from it. It is the look down. It is really really. It's still very steep, and I wouldn't fancy having a few scoops and falling down a few rows there like I did at Newcastle a few years ago, away. I haven't even talked anything about the game yet. Yeah, so what I'm really glad I've sent a couple of the lads who we're going to be sitting with next year. I'm glad we didn't get those seats behind the goal there because they're the only ones in the stadium. They're at the bar in front, at the bar in front of you, and I'm not small. I'm not like heavier than I've ever been. But thinking about fellas who are a bit bigger than me, broader, and weigh a little bit more. I'm up to about 15 stone now, and that's more than ever been in my life. But it was a tight squeeze in those on those seats there. So I'm not sure if all of them are the hybrid standing and seating area. I don't. I'm not quite sure how that's working. I haven't looked into that because we ended up going up in the upper south, in the left hand corner, where I was just to the right of the goal, but a lot further back than I am in a glad street at the moment. But it was like uh, it was a lot higher up comparatively than it would be if it was in row 24, or that would be row X in the Gladys, wouldn't it? So it was a lot more. Yeah, you could just see the overview was everything. And when I was going to go in about the 75th minute, but then a lot of other people left, and the only reason I wanted to go was I wanted to try and get some pictures and a little bit of video footage while it was empty. And I thought if I go about around the 75th minute, then I'll be able to do some of that. But loads of other people just started, and then I thought, you know what, I don't want to go actually. I want to catch it all here. And I had a little wander around and checked from a number of different areas. So I think I got row 7, right by where I normally sit in the Gladys, and I had a look at that view. And it was, as I say, it was a lot higher up in comparison. I mean, I really like our view of where we've sat in the past 25 years. We sat around there the past 32 years. I like that view, and that comparative seat would have been a great view as well. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the bars in front, and I'm glad we didn't end up going for them because they were quite tight. And I think my weight's only going that way, so that's what match day bevs and no exercise does to you, and obviously getting old. So yeah, got a topped 11 minutes 26 seconds. I haven't even mentioned the game itself. As I say, it wasn't overly. I don't want to belittle the lads who were out there. For them, it's a massive, massive game, and it's super important, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know what else to add about that. I'll talk about the game now. But, Wigan look pretty decent. The first ever goal there, Harry Rimmer, and then the second, Cole Sims, and the first one apparently is a red because he ventures over and celebrates like doing the stupid six. to the European Cups. He's a little snake. Should have got booked, shouldn't he? And then Cole Sims did the celebration when he scored as well. We had a number of efforts that was down our ends. We had a number of efforts down their ends, and it was, who impressed me. Foster, our number six, was pretty good, and there were a number of performances. I need to get the team list now. I need to read this lad's name. Akara Kiri, number 8. I thought he was decent as well, and Graham at number 11. Uh, there was a lad Clark on the right, and he looked really decent to start off with, but he kept coming inside, and then he was just like going past players as if like they weren't there. But then he tried to go on the outside a few times, and I think because he couldn't, I think that knocked his confidence, and then his performance went downhill after that. We had a number of really good efforts, um, some off the line, and then but eventually Everton get their first ever goal at the Bramley Stadium, and it is from a penalty. And it was when I went over in the far left corner, just to see. That must have been around row 27, I think. We're row 37, something like that. So it would have been above us, but it's on the upper tier. It's not really a tiered system. There's a big wall behind the first block of seats, and then the second block of seats start. So none of them kind of hang over where the others are. Um, so I wanted to get as close to where our seats are as possible. So I went over there and managed to. I was just doing some little video footage, which I'm going to try and drop in whilst I'm talking. Whilst this is all exporting and stuff, I'm going to try and drop in behind me or over the top of me while I'm talking. And if I don't, then it'll just still be my face. So if I don't get it done in time, I'll put it out on social media tomorrow. But penalty down at the south end, the south stand side, and it's put down the middle of the goal as far as I could see, and we get it back to 2-1. And then another few chances there to level it, and unfortunately we didn't. And we we don't get back on level terms, and we can get the 2-1 victory. Um, Great reception for the youngsters there, though, isn't it? And what a massive thing to tell people, whether those players go on and get and go on have great careers at Everton or elsewhere, or whether that is where the kind of where their career or their journey ends. That what a massive story to tell, and so it's great stuff. Um, and I just can't wait to see it. I've done a load of videos and stuff, and I just can't wait to see it bouncing. Um, and just looking where the barred bits were in the south stands, I think the only other bits in the grounds were at the other end in the right hand corner from where we were, where the away section is. So that potentially sets up them for a nice atmosphere. If that's the same kind of hybrid sitting and standing, then um, yeah, it could. But we obviously what they've said with the design, the nod to our current ground, the old lady, with some of the design aspects, but some of the other stuff there. Trying to make it like a bit of a cauldron with steep stands to build the atmosphere. The big screens look boss. The graphics look amazing. The pitch looked great. Um, yeah, even the gantry. Apparently the gantry at Goodison's one of the oldest in the league, and it's a bit rickety. So you could see down on the left hand side behind the dugout and the yeah, there's a lot more space there. I thought the could have. They're just showing the crowd on the on Sky Sports News now, and yeah, it was good turnout. With the ballot thing, what was it, like something like it took about a quid for you to apply, and I think that was just I think I'm not even sure if that was refunded or whatever. And then it was about five a ticket. Um, so it wasn't. I wasn't sure that everyone was going to turn up or everyone was going to stay that long. You could see people were starting to drift out. Um, Half time onwards, but quite a few stayed till quite late on and even till the end. And then coming out, it was a nice everyone trying to get content and trying to get pictures all over the show and video. And you can see just on the right hand side when we're coming out, all the Everton way stones not quite finished yet, and the railings were up to stop you going in and have a further look. But they are starting to they look really nice. The ones that I've done so far. So again, can't wait to see that. So what I'm going to do now, what I normally do is do a little bit more Everton news, give you our socials, and then either just wrap up or do a look ahead at the weekend's game. But I'm going to do the weekend game, which is Man U on Friday, and then I'm going to come back and just talk about the league and finish off. So here's our socials. If you haven't followed us already, please do. And things are ticking back over, and yeah, I keep mentioning this all the time, trying to get back to where we were a few years ago. When we started stuff about 12 years ago, disappeared from doing the podcast for about 5 years, but even the social media has been on just haven't had time to post on that, and but steadily getting creeping back up there number wise, and appreciate everyone's share and interactions.
This is the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. If you haven't already, go and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/EFC Not Bitter, Just Better, or you can find us on Twitter at Just Better EFC.
Okay, so as I say, there you have our socials. So please go and give us a follow. You see, I've been a little bit more active on TikTok lately. I've been trying to do these snippets and sound bites from the podcast in just 60-second bites so that I can put out in there, and they've gone down pretty well over the last over the last week or so. Although I did get called a wool on that, and I don't know. I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong, but people from Merseyside are called Scousers, not just people who live in the Liverpool district of Merseyside. So growing up in Bootle and Liverpool and living in Liverpool city centre, I thought I was definitely not on the wool end of the scale, but apparently I am from a red point of view, and I suppose I would be from some blue point of view, if that's the definition. I don't know. You tell me, Blues. Maybe because I'm not as scouse, but that's what years of working in my job, having to enunciate, I've done. Um, but just where do we? Oh yeah, so looking at the oh yeah, so TikTok, got a lot more active on there lately. Um, what else I was just going to mention the Man City news, and I can't find the actual news on this because there's still been no decision about the 115 charges. But there was a side bit of news that was out about it, wasn't it? That they have argued that the Premier League enforcing that rule and stuff like I couldn't find the actual story of it, but they're claiming a bit of a moral victory, and they feel confident now that those charges will be 100% dropped. But where does that leave Everton? Because we've already lost those points. Can we sue? Um, I don't 100% know all the ins and outs on it, but I don't think anybody does. And this is where you kind of do want that transparency, because we lost those points. This was while the City charges were going on, and there was just no news about that at all. 115 charges versus our one, was it? and and they've spent another what 80, 100 and something million this last transfer window, and all clubs were deemed to have followed the rules there. So there's something dodgy going on for sure. And yeah, we got the shitty end of the stick on it, didn't we? Um, Next season, it came out, didn't it? That we're going to be with PSR rules again next season, but there's going to be a new system in place soon, and I think that relates to the overall takings and the percentages that you can spend versus your income, rather than just someone coming in and giving you um, a load of money that you can just go and buy whoever you want. So we'll see. There'll be more news on that shortly, I'd imagine. Oh, they're just showing the Bramley Moore Stadium again, and the stones in place and stuff, and everyone was made up. Um, the interviews on Sky coming out and stuff. So anyway, yeah, distracted. Yeah, so just talking about, I'm not going to go into the Man U game itself. Just talking about Moyes' magic touch. What's changed? 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss in 6 games. Defensive stability, only 5 goals conceded in the last 6 games. Is that right? I can't work that out. So two against the Shite, 2 against Spurs, and 1 against Palace. Is that right? Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? Beto and his turnaround in form has been amazing. Obviously, Jake O'Brien coming in and getting a go when Dice said he wasn't ready, and everyone just playing a lot more together, and it's just great to see. So what that means with the league table. We are in 14th position. We leapfrogged um, Man United and Tottenham, as I mentioned before. But Tottenham beat Man United at the weekend. So we are now in 14th position, level on points. We're on -4 versus Palace, who are on -3. Tottenham are still on +12. Find that hard to believe. But we're level on points with them as well. But we're not catching them goal difference wise anytime soon, are we? Brentford ahead in 11th on 34, and Brighton in the top half of the table on 37. So there's still a long way to go to catch them. But then you're looking at them, Fulham at 39 in 8th position, and you know top 4 going to the Champions League. Bournemouth are in 5th at the moment. Um, and Man City are back in there as well. Chelsea 43, and then below us, Everton 14th, Man United 15th on 29 points. Of course, we play them at the weekends, which I'll give a preview of on in Friday's show. West Ham, who got the chose to go with Graham Potter because it didn't work out for them with the last manager, and obviously Moyes before that. Wolves 19, and then Ipswich and Leicester both on 17. I think Southampton, we can safely say, are gone. But looking at those teams and who could possibly catch us, can you see Leicester and Ipswich getting 13 points, 14 points more than us in the remaining 13 games of the season? And if they do, can you also see Wolves getting 12 more points than us? It's it's looking a lot safer, isn't it? Ipswich 13 more points in 13 games when you've got 17 points in 25 games. Same with Leicester. I imagine Leicester, they've got to turn something round soon where they'll get more points. But I can't see it being that much of a jump. So, yeah, no matter what, I still can't see Man United finishing 15, 16. You'd imagine that they're going to come good at some point. Let's just hope it's not this weekend. But I've said it through the week. If we get a couple more wins, getting those uh, higher positions in the league is a big chunk of money more. I don't, if we from when Moisey came in, we were one position above the relegation zone, and now We are 13 points above the relegation zone. Massive. Um, yeah, top half might be a stretch, but if we can get 12th, 13th after the shit show that the start of this season has been, then you've got to say, I mean, you've already got to put Pat Moisey on the back, haven't you? I was quietly optimistic about him coming back. I think the way he left wasn't great, but you could sense there was some unfinished business there, and he's just come in and he's just done everything with a bit of class. And we can't remember what we liked about him when he was a Everton manager. You know, when he left for Man U, I don't think we could begrudge him that. The only thing that kind of soured people's minds, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, was like when he came in and tried to get Bainesy and Fellaini on the cheap, and that really, really rattled a lot of Everton fans at the time. And then, you know, he mentioned stuff about us blocking their career progress and all that kind of stuff. And he was just trying to do the best job for Man U as he could. And obviously, we didn't like it at the time. But now he's trying to do the best for Everton that he can. And he's doing a million times better than our last couple of managers. So, and I appreciate it from him. So, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to do the the Man United preview. I'll do that on Thursday's show. And I'm going to wrap up now because it looks like the computer's going to die. So thanks for listening as always, and thanks for watching as well. And